Hi. So hi everyone, my name is Daumantas, and I'm a designer by nature, I would say. I worked at Vinted for a couple of years now, 7 as a matter of fact, and I've been working in Vinted Go recently. So even though I no longer have anything connected to product development as per my role definition, I still did loads of stuff on building stuff, and Vibecoding actually enabled this. So today I'm going to talk about how Vibecoding looks like through the eyes of a non-developer such as myself. So we're going to talk about what is Vibecoding, who came up with this name, because it really sounds quite cringe. Is it a new thing? How does Vibecoding work, and does it? Who can build with it? What is it good for? Why developers are so skeptical about it? And how I think it will impact the product industry and delivery process in general for product teams and product companies like Vinted. So what's a Vibecoding? Let's start with the basics. So overall, Vibecoding definition would be the programming approach where people use AI tools to rapidly prototype or build applications through natural descriptions when you're focusing more on intent rather than implementation. Simply put, it's a very ChatGPT-like experience when you're asking for something and you're getting a result in most of the cases, good result or not so good when you receive the results. But often, feels like magic. First time when I got my hands on it, it definitely felt like magic, and it was like very, very mind-blowing moment for myself. Because I think it made software development as a thing accessible to non-developers. And right now, everyone who can speak English, or as a matter of fact, any language, even Lithuanian, can develop and can know code. We'll go into like pitfalls and does it actually work in a second, but well, let's also address the elephant in the room. Why is it called this way? So there is a guy who was like founding person of like OpenAI right now. He's a Tesla AI head, I think. And he was saying that there's a new kind of coding that I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, forget that the code even exists. I asked for the dumbest things like decrease the padding because I'm too lazy to do it myself. So this was written in February, so it's more like 6 months ago. And it started as a joke, I believe, but it did pick up. So everyone starting Forbes, IBM, MIT Technology was writing about it. All the Twitter was booming from it. And there was one guy, oh sorry, the highlighting didn't work, but he basically said it's unfortunate that it's called Vibecoding, and under highlighted text there should have been because it's deeply intellectual exercise. And like Vibecoding kind of makes it sound a little cheesy, funny, and like not as important maybe or significant. But it didn't matter. Vibecoding term picked up, and it's skyrocketing, and on Google Trends, there was a hype. Right now it's plateauing, but like it's still very much on demand and popular. As a matter of fact, more people are interested in Vibecoding than in term Vilnius. Also, I dig a bit deeper into the data, and I saw that Lithuania is only in 19th place on the ratings by the interest in Vibecoding. On the first 3, we have China, Taiwan, Singapore. So really hope that very soon we can top, at least improve Lithuania's place at least by 1 or a couple places. So, is this a new thing? It's not. So Vibecoding is basically like AI-assisted coding. And AI-assisted coding been there for a while. Let's take a brief look at the timeline of AI-assisted coding developments. So I noted a couple of, I would say, milestones in the AI-assisted product developments. So it all, I guess, started with like GitHub Copilot. But for me, as a non-developer, it seemed like a thing by developers, for developers, wouldn't care, don't care, and not gonna care. But it did change in March 2023, when in one of the videos OpenAI released, what they did, they took a notebook, they drew a simple wireframe on paper, then took a picture, uploaded it to ChatGPT. Then moments later, ChatGPT returned HTML code and deployed not deployed, but like HTML working code. So I think this was a pivotal time in Vibecoding, as we call it today. It followed by a couple more significant feature releases or product releases from Vercel, Claude, Bolt. Then this Vibecoding term was mentioned. And very recently, in June, Figma released, Figma is a software that designers use to create designs. Figma released Figma Make. Figma Make is basically a Vibecoding tool so it's not as good as others in the industry, but it's put into designers' toolkit. So every designer right now is able to do it, and they don't need to do loads of discoveries out there themselves. So how do I code? So Bolt, if you've seen any of those logotypes, probably you're aware of Vibecoding or AI-assisted coding. As a matter of fact, it's booming right now. Bolt is new, which was like one of the, I would say, pioneers of this, got a recent investment of 100 million. Lovable, which is another Vibecoding tool, it's launched 7 months ago, and by now, I think by last week, they have already 75 million annual recurring revenue. This is a Swedish company, and this is the fastest growing company in Europe right now. And Cursor's creator just hit 9 billion valuation, which is more than Vinted. They all work in a very simple way. Input, loading, results. So you type in some sort of like a input bar, you get loading state generation, and then you get results. Sometimes it's a type of code, it's in the body of code, but sometimes it's already deployed website. What's the promise these Vibecoding tools are making? And more importantly, do they deliver on it? So if you go to one of those websites, you would see, oh, this is the app that builds apps. Build something, turn your idea into apps. So it kind of feels like they're making software development to look from this to kind of child's play. And especially when you go to YouTube and you see like videos, let's create a Airbnb clone in 40 seconds. So I thought I would give it a go. Let's see. Let's create a Vinted clone, and let's see if we can create a Vinted clone in 40 seconds. So 40 seconds later, more like 2 or 3 minutes, we got a website. We got a website that looks okay-ish, and more importantly, it's more functional. I really hope the video will work. Oh, it does. So it created a website which is interactive, there's favorite, there's already product details, even though I didn't mention anything about it. There's a sell now, there's modals with validations, there's filters that are working for both pricing and others. So it was pretty impressive. And like right now I'm talking it like it's not a big deal. However, the first time when I saw it, it was a mind-blowing moment for me. And I thought, okay, let's go a bit further. Let's add an upload form, user profile, shopping cart. And yeah, it did. And it did loads of more things. For example, when you add an item to a cart, I didn't mention, but it created a cart with additional rules to add free shipping for orders if there's more than one item. It also created an empty state that we as designers often forget when like handing designs to developers. So AI has a tendency to over-deliver, sometimes surprise you in negative or positive ways, but it definitely is something to look out for, in a way. I was thinking, okay, let's try not only for functionality, but maybe we can see it, how can it adjust styles? And I thought, well, let's try to see how Vinted would look like if it would be for Gen Z. Well, a couple moments later, we got it. And all the functionality remained the same, and it just like changed the whole styling. And well, it does definitely look different, as they say, think different. It all works. It's probably a matter of style and choice and preference, if you like it or not, but definitely a great way to explore different styles. It would have taken me naturally days to define user needs as a designer, to ideate designs, research competitors, prototypes, build edge cases, hand over the edge cases to developers, and maybe like, I don't know, in a week or two we would have delivered this. But as impressive as it looks, it's still as a prototype. It's not connected, and it's definitely not a fully working clone that I could create in 40 seconds. So I was asking myself a question, can one create something more than just a prototype? Can you build something actually usable? And the answer is yes, and hell yes, I would say. So I'll show you a couple of projects that I've coded myself as a side kind of projects, and I'll start with the first one. So recently I picked up a new hobby, which is jewelry making, silversmithing. And usually the process for making any piece of silver is just you take a wax, then you sculpt it into desired shape, then you need to calculate how much does it weigh, then do some calculations, then weight how much silver and copper you need, because this is how you make sterling silver, then you melt it, then you pour it, and then you have a final product. And this calculation, when doing this calculation, I need to think about the density, about the weight, about the proportions, mass, surplus, and all the other stuff. It's not a rocket science, but it's still a manual process in the work. So what I did, I thought, okay, maybe it's a good way to create something. Well, so what I did, I built myself an app and a website that allows you to type in. By the way, these are all deployed and like these are working, by the way. Bax model, I type in how much does it weigh, I select the type of metal that I want, I type in the surplus, I calculate it, and I get not only the weights, how much I need to mix, but also I get prices, how much it will cost me to produce this, because I have connected it to Metal Prices API, Metal Prices API. So basically every day it can tell me how much this piece of metal would cost me to produce. How did I build it? I used V0 for the front end, I used Cursor for the back end, I plugged in Metal Prices API, updated daily. Versioning, this is the first time I figured out why you need versioning, because in the process of developing, I just lost half of the project, so it was a nice way to find out that this is what GitHub is for, and I deployed it using Vercel. Another thing, emoji generator. So, in Vinted Go, we're crazy about pep emojis for no reason, but we love pep emojis. And the thing is that at some point I started doing custom emojis for my teammates when I need some sort of favor. And it started as a funny thing, but then I started getting loads of high-impact requests saying that, hey, we need one more Pepe. There's a missing Pepe in our Slack. And I was like thinking, okay, that sounds like a nice idea for another experiment. What I did and deployed emoji maker.vibecoding.io, by the way, a website where what you can do, you can type in what features does it have to have. For example, ginger beard, pink hair, little kitty. You can select a style. You can click generate. A couple of moments later, I'm using OpenAI ChatGPT generation model behind. We got pep emojis, which indeed has ginger beard, kitty, and pink hair. So not only that, I thought, well, it's impressive, but if I want to deploy it, I don't want everyone to use it for free and like to use my model. So what I did, I integrated Google sign-in options. I added a database where I can track how many credits each of us have. I integrated Stripe payment, and you can actually, it's working. You can go and like buy additional credits if you want to generate your emojis. So all of that, not a single line of code. However, this project was more complex. So usual stack was the same, but like for database, I plugged in Supabase, I added Stripe for payments, login, I added some more features so that no one would, so that you, and I very encourage you to go there to try to test the app and test if you can break it. I'm sure you will be able. But I added rate limiting, fingerprinting, photo to emoji features, and voucher logic, and so on. So these both tools were born from unwillingness to do repetitive work. And I was like thinking, is there any manual work in my daily Vinted work that I really dislike doing? And as a matter of fact, there were. So I work at Vinted Go, and at Vinted Go right now we're doing ad services. So basically we're selling ads placements for different placements that we have, such as lockers, parcel inserts, shipping labels. And we know that like if I do mockup, the potential customer convert better to a paid customer. So at some point, like I started doing those mockups for each of the client, and then was like, hey, I'm leaving the team very soon. They're not gonna hire a project manager who can design as well. So I thought maybe I can leave something as a legacy in a way. So I built a tool for it, and the tool is. So you can go to the tool, you upload a desired image, it automatically renders to all of our placements. You can check it how it looks like for different placements, just locker screens, parcel inserts, shipping labels, packaging. If you want, you can download it and send it over to someone out there. It blends nicely as well. It's basically the quality work that I would have done myself as a designer. And like another, I think, impressive thing, because like 5 minutes after I built that tool, I published into our Vinted Go website. How I did it, I basically embedded iframe, and this whole website was created using Framer. So without any development effort, I made this live in basically a couple of hours. If you would ask me how much that would have taken if I would have gone to like product manager and asking, hey, can you build this tool? They probably would have said me at least a sprint. And I think this is more or less the ambition that we are seeing with Vibecoding. You can make things 10 or even 100 times, I would say, faster. Another related pain point with ads is when we sell an ad, I need to create print files. And these print files are very tedious work. I hate working with Illustrator, but this is what we need to do. And I thought another tool to solve the problem. I can create one. So what I did another tool where basically you can upload your logotype, you can type in title, and on the right side, if you see it already renders on the exact place. You can create a generate QR code, so it actually generates based on the link that you're adding, and it's there. You can preview it, you can download, and you can also download PDF, production and print-ready files, which basically saves me at least 2 hours of my daily work. What can you vibe code, and what is it good for? I see we have only 2 minutes left. Can I use some of the time from the Q&A? Okay, good. What is it good for? So in 2025 Q2, and I signified Q2 because probably in Q3 the list would be completely different, is that, well, it's good for static front-end web pages, for example, landing or marketing pages. It's great for isolated products with limited logic. So if you remember, at some point we did Vinted Wrapped by the end of the year, where there was a quiz that you can like share on social media, and was like isolated, done by a marketing agency, external agency. Well, given me a couple of hours, I could have done it probably the same way as it did. Internal tools with no access to company and private data, rapid experiments, AI automations, and locally deployed tools. I think it's not good for yet, though. Production-ready features for Vinted products and tools and products with sensitive product data, product, company, or personal data. This, by the way, disclaimer, this list is not confirmed with IT security or anyone else, so like, well, treat it with a grain of salt. Okay, another question. Why developers are skeptical about it? And I'm pretty sure you saw loads of memes. Say Vibecoding one more time, vulnerability as a service, and I think like if you are like on Twitter, you probably feel the gist in a way. But all the skepticism comes from fairly valid concerns, obviously. And these concerns are usually security risks, such as exposed user data, API keys, attack vulnerabilities. Another one is lack of architectural thinking, scalability, code quality and tech depth, and tangled technical mess. Because like when sometimes AI is given to roam free, it creates stuff that's very difficult to untangle. But Vibecoding tools and AI models are developing at incredible speed. Hence, assumptions from even 3 months old are likely to be wrong already. So if you have very strong opinions about AI or Vibecoding, double check it if it's still the case and if it comes from the past that you had. Because like as you all know, like AI capabilities, like the models, how much tokens they can like comprehend, increased hundreds of times in 3 years, as a matter of fact. And also there's like 2 types of Vibecoding approaches. So there's this freeform that you're all familiar with, probably by using cursor, and I call the other part guided and restricted, which is usually using Bolt, Lovable, V0, and other tools. They are like different. So for freeform, you usually start with the empty code base. It takes a lot of time to see the final results. It's great for people who understand the code, and it follows the traditional way of product development, similarly as in illustration below. You start with something, you put something on top, and in the end, you only see the final results. On the other side, guided and restricted, we got immediate results after the first prompt, built-in integrations, and people with limited or no development experience can already build. Guided and restricted tools tackle some of the concerns that you or any other developers may have. So for example, when it comes to security, they have built-in tools to make sure that you don't expose your environment variables. They have firewalls enabled. They have security scans and security reviews. So they're making it more safe to deploy tools. They're also thinking about how to better plan and be better architecture, so it suggests models to use languages and explains why. They had built-in integrations and similar. My takes and predictions on Vibecoding. So first of all, discovery process is changing. So ideation process is being democratized, which means that not only designers can now produce design input. You or anyone else in this room, or not even in this room, can type in something and get an output as a design and as a deployed product. This changes kind of power dynamics in a team too. High-fidelity prototypes become the default expectations, whether it's research, whether it's refinement sessions, or anything else. And discovery process shifts from consequential to experimental, which means that instead of doing research, refinement, handoff, testing, you can now build experiments immediately. And because right now software development becomes cheaper, because like you developers are the most expensive kind of workforce in any product business, and these tools enable us to have a bit more shots at production at testing something. And also delivery process is changing, so product development will no longer be kept by engineers in a way. People will be expecting that if they vibe coded something, that you may be able to implement or integrate in the code. So this also is like something that I think is coming. I think the pressure on development speed will increase because developer-produced solutions will be compared to AI-produced solutions. And for the person who is not a tech-savvy, they might not really understand why is it better one or the other way, because they see results. And like in most of the cases, results are that matter. And like when you're testing something on a low-scale initial stages, built is better than perfect. And changing roles and team setup. So I think QA will get superpowers. They will no longer be able to just report stuff, they will be able to fix stuff themselves. Full stack teams will be no longer needed to develop full stack solutions. Designers will be building fully functional front-end solutions, and there will be a rise for the need for generalist roles. A call for action for all of you. So if you're a developer in a product team, please don't shut down the peers who bring a vibe-coded prototype. As a matter of fact, right now I'm running a workshop on vibe coding for designers, so as soon as, I hope, next week, people will start using it more openly. Instead, I suggest to investigate, try to collaborate, see if something from this vibe-coded stuff could be used. And I would even suggest encourage designers to build fully functional prototypes if I were you. Because as a designer, I don't usually think about edge cases or empty states as I showed. AI can help you to do them this without even thinking. If you're working on developer or designer experience, I suggest you to consider ways how to enable everyone to create vibe coding experiments. Create guidelines for this, find ways to integrate design system, find ways to create sandbox to deploy experiments and maybe dummy databases. Also, look for ways how to safely enable designers and other peers to contribute to code, because this will be expectation. As a matter of fact, Intercom, one of the leading product organizations, in my opinion, has said that by the end of this quarter, every single designer will be pushing pull requests, or pulling, I don't even know, but like this thing to database, software code base. And if you're a designer, yeah, I encourage them to be open to contribution. Don't treat people with vibe-coded experiments as a competition. Treat them as contribution. And get comfortable with AI tools. And if you're a manager or a director, encourage, invest, support, enable, and recognize people who do it. And a shameless plug, so I believed in vibe coding so much that this is one of the last few weeks at Vinted, and I'll be going to run experiments through vibe coding myself. And I'll be learning loads of this stuff. I'm learning loads of stuff along the way. And what I'm doing, I'm basically creating a platform to publish to see what's possible with vibe coding, to publish stuff that you have built, to see what other people are building. It's kind of like a mix of a product hunt, dribble-like things. You can have blog articles. There's a newsletter as well. And there will be loads of suggestions and ideas. How can you become better at vibe coding or AI-assisted coding? So I have a large list, and I'm very keen to share it with other people. So if you're interested, vibecoding.io, and that's me. Thank you for your time.
So, Daumantas, was it scary coming in front of a couple of hundred engineers and telling them that you can essentially do their jobs now?
So it was. I definitely thought about this, that I might be, I don't know, looked down or just like, what is the designer going to tell? But it's actually, it's definitely the way product teams will be working is changing. So get ahead of the curve, because it's in a way inevitable. But I'm not saying that you're going to lose jobs, because designers are the same basically step, and we can lose jobs as well, because you no longer need designers to publish. So everyone will be focusing on quality solutions and quantity maybe of those, and maybe some tedious work as recreating Figma prototype to CSS code will no longer be needed, and you as an engineer might be focusing on more impactful and more sophisticated tasks instead. But definitely my take is the way of working will be changing, and it will take for bigger companies like Vinted, I think up to a half year to adjust them. However, little companies and solo founders are already working in this way. So just they have already head start, because we have so much legacy stuff.
Okay, awesome. And we actually have a couple of questions to you from Slido. First is, does vibe coding inspire you to start building more? I think it's kind of a rhetorical question. Welcome to engineering. So basically, you are an engineer already by doing this.
I don't want to call myself vibe coder because it sounds lame, but I guess, yeah, everyone right now at the age of AI is engineers or builders. I'd like to call it more as builders.
Okay. Awesome. And another person is asking you about your thoughts on future job security, because coding as a craft might start to mean less.
I agree and disagree. It's easier to create a first version of any product, because you no longer need to build design systems yourself. You no longer need to build visuals. However, there will be loads of same looking and feeling tools out there. Because if you try out of those tools, you would see that the output is pretty much similar. And in a year, there will be so many AI wrappers out there, and all the tools that feel and work the same. And then the craft comes in. Then the people who can top up the level of the production will matter. And if you're a designer, if you're a developer, if you're a product manager, this is when it's going to get difficult, because you'll need to be the best to differentiate yourself from the market.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
Exciting times ahead. Thank you, Daumantas. Vibecoding opens a niche for code plumbers. It does. Thank 100%. You, Daumantas, for coming here and for your stay at Vinted.
Yeah,
Good luck in your next endeavors.
So